welcome to Flory Models Kit Review time. Today something a little bit older, something a little bit different for this one. What we've got here is A Models Mi-10. This is the long-legged version. This particular helicopter comes in different versions. This is the long-leggy one. The reason for doing this one is that we've never actually reviewed an A Models kit before, and we've got a bit of theme going on with helicopters with the reviews at the moment, so we thought we'd have a look at something a little bit different and show you perhaps a kit manufacturer you haven't heard of before. So, as we can see down here, this is the Mi-10, or the Mi-10, okay? Long leggy version. As I said, this kit does come in a couple of flavours. One of the other one, it just has normal wheels. Obviously, it is a heavy lift helicopter, as you can see just down on there. A little bit of blurb about the Mi-10 and about what it can do. As I say, it is a heavy lift helicopter right the way through, as you can see down on there. Okay, so kit number for this one is 72172. It is a 172 scale kit, funnily enough. Okay, so some of the other ones that they do, as I say, they are renowned for doing some big stuff. Okay, but right the way through, obviously mainly Russian, but they do other bits and pieces as well. Now, as I said, this kit is old. I'm not exactly sure how old. I can't get in. Oh, it's taped. Okay, hold on. I think we might be on a... As I say, this isn't my kit, so I'm being a bit gingerly with it. I think it's somewhat stuck on a bit. Oh, right. Okay, hold on. I get it. So this is thanks to Matt, for letting us review his kit. One bag, okay, and we have some other bits just down in here, so we'll just lose that a second. To start with, we'll have a look to see what we've got in the old instructions. Alright, so said before, they are, you know, bordering on sort of a limited run type kit. They don't sell tons of them, but the quality is definitely there. As you can see, multiple sprue parts down in there, as you can imagine, both sides of it. There is going to be some that you're not going to be using because obviously there's different versions of this particular helicopter. Straight in though with the cockpit, usual thing. All the gubbins going in amongst all of that. Then we've got a little bit of engine work going at the top, or exhaust work I should say, putting all of those in just up there, and then popping all the windows in. Now, if I was you, I'd do the PVA trick and do them all like that rather than putting all of these in, because masking them is going to be a little bit of a problem and an issue. Okay, in over the top, putting in the actual APU intake and all the various parts, and we've got all the glass work going in. Quite complex looking at this, how it's all going to go, but as you can see, taking your time, getting these sub-assemblies all in place, and then generally running them all in. Looks like the glass work's very close to everything. Okay, so popping all of those in like that. All right, and then tail section being fitted in and on. Again, taking your time with alignment, getting that all good. It is pretty flat on the bottom of this thing right the way through. It doesn't have that traditional lifted tail. Okay, entranceway going in there, as you might imagine, right the way through, and then obviously this very finicky undercarriage system, giving it the height to be able to pick up cargo right underneath it. Okay, so you sort of drive on the ramp and it'll hold you there just like that. Okay, then obviously on the underside, fuel tanks being fitted on, both sides going in there, tail rotor system being put together and being put on as well, and then aerials and sort of antennas going in at the top, both sides of that as well, being fitted. Then we've actually got the deck. Okay, so this is the sort of drive-on cargo area down on here that hangs below, and then obviously all the supports and the various items which are going to hold that all in place. And then fitting that actually in there is not too much problem, locking that in and making sure the glue's totally set before you do anything with it. Again, alignment issues I can see being a little bit of a problem, so just making sure everything's square, you'll be absolutely fine. Rotor head going together, okay, and then obviously blades being put on, and that really completes your build. Okay, markings for it, very basic, as you imagine. You're not going to get too much out of it down in there. So you've got an Afghanistan one, which is the 80th one down in there if you wanted to do like that. Colour callouts for it are in your sort of standard sort of Humbrol colours for it as well on that. Okay, then we got another marking sheet down in there showing the Ukrainian one, around about circa 1970s. Okay, so it's an old school aircraft, this thing. Alright, 40-year-old aircraft. Okay, and then we've got a little set of decals. Okay, again, nothing too fancy with these, but you've got some instrumentation type ones down in there, and again, pretty good, I have to say. They're all solid, nicely in register, and I think for the scale in 1/72 they're perfectly usable as well, with no problem. So really you got red 72 or red 9 on that one. Okay, so into the bag. So one giant bag. Got the clear parts we'll look at last. Okay, so you'd think of an aircraft of this size, it would be a bigger type bag really. So I don't know where to begin really on this. It's looking for a fuselage part, but as you say, it's such a modular type of bit of kit. So down on here we've got the fuselage halves. As you can see, beautiful mixture of sort of raised and recessed details. Unfortunately they have been floating around in a bag, so you're going to get them scratched up to each other. As you can see down on here, some of it has got some quite nasty little scratches in there, but generally beautiful detail, really very nice right the way through on all of this. So I don't think you're going to have too much of a problem. Again, you're thinking it's limited run, really it's on the blind side. All the details on limited run kits tends to be on the face side. Internally, not so much, okay? And that's a classic example down in there. But outside, that is really very nice indeed. Again, no problems with any of that. That's actually quite good. Okay, and whilst we're here, we'll look at the tail and then we can sort of get these together. Again, a little bit of riveting work maybe, but definitely the recessed panel lines, very fine, very nice. And up here on the tail, that's quite nice. And then sort of size wise, you can see what we're sort of getting at. It's going to be, I don't know if you've got the size on the box, this thing's going to have to be somewhere around the size of, I've got my thing on here, so it's going to be, I would say, around about sort of 40-50 centimetres without the rotor head in there. So that's very nice indeed. This is the other half for the actual main rotor, for the main fuselage on the top side. Okay, then we've got blades. Again, all recessed details on all of these as well. Very nice indeed. No problem with any of those. And again, it does got a sort of natural sort of sag moulded into them as well. You can probably see it like that. You see we've got this natural point here which is going to have a little bit of sag on it, just like that. Okay, so that's quite a nice touch, and they all have got that. It's not like I'm making it up, they've all got the actual natural sag in there. A little bit of the cargo deck, so we can see it down on here. Again, nice tie down bolt positions, all recessed, and a nice mixture of raised and recessed on those as well. So you can see pretty good. You can see what I mean about the blank side on these things. And it's quite a nice touch, it's been engraved in there for the front end to the rear. So very nice on those. Rotor head, again, good level of detail right the way through. No problems, I got no sink marks. A little bit of flashing here and there, just these bits up around here, things like that, but nothing that can be taken care of with a couple of swipes of a sanding stick. Just some little bit of flashy, but generally pretty good all over that, no problem at all. Okay, we've got the other half. This will be the bottom of the deck, and then the other half of the side, but again, pretty good on those. The underside of the helicopter itself, pretty much devoid of any real details, but as you can see, got a little bit of detail work down in there on both sides. It's pretty good, no problem at all. Those vents with the sort of louver doors look quite nice. That's all pretty good. Fuel tanks, as you can see, nicely detailed, nicely raised, sort of welded bead line, things like that on those, as you'd expect with these types of fuel tanks. So that's pretty good indeed. The legs, lots of legs, as you can imagine. There's a lot going down under here with the undercarriage in that entire system on there. So you've got a little bit of burring, as you can see on this. So say, all right, a lot of burring on this as well. This is that sandwich line, you can see it. It'll be on all the parts as well. So you're going to take a little bit of clean up to go through the parts on these, just to make sure they're all nice and devoid of that sort of flash that can build up on them. Here's the other one as well. Nicely done on there, no problem at all on both sides. So pretty good in theory, no problems at all. Wheels, a little bit basic, okay, but you know, perfectly usable, that's for certain. No problems there. Seems funny having such a big kit with little parts that fit in the little camera. Okay, so we've got these sort of, you know, air scoops, if you like, the sort of louvedour effect down on there. They don't go right the way through, they are just on the surface for show. But generally, again, not too bad. All of this just needs a little bit of cleanup, a lot of test fitting, you know, dry fit everything, never go in with glue first on this kit. And I think you'll be absolutely fine. Some of the small, more intricate parts, you can see, no problem with any of those. Even on this small stuff, beautifully moulded, very, very small, but still very, very sharp. No problem. Got a small breakage, I think, on this little guy, unfortunately. I'm amazed there isn't more broken. So what you want to do is glue that before you actually come in and remove it from the sprue. So that way you've got good alignment. Other side of that tail, so this is the rotor, tail rotor mounting unit and everything. Again, you can see down under here we've got a little bit of flash all running down. So this is stuff you just want to make sure you're all nice and clean and tidy, and you've got flash down under here just so they're all good, okay, and in the right spot. Okay, we've got more tiny little details, all the small parts, plenty of it, very nice indeed. And we've got tail, rotor set, and the actual tail planes as well, which are full moving on this. Okay, and then there's the unit for the actual blades being fitted onto the tail. They're going to go into these slices here, they're going to fit in. Again, strange way of doing it, but actually it probably works quite well. Very nice indeed. Okay, a couple of more little bits down in here. So we've got some of the bulkheads, some of the small parts down here. Nice to see the back side of the actual instrument panel. I don't know how much you'll see. Quite a lot of glass around the front being a helicopter. That's quite a nice touch, but some of the other stuff as well, actually pretty good. Nice little screw gates as well. They're all pretty nicely moulded in, no problem at all with any of that. See, okay, then down here, getting bigger, big old exhausts, you know, the actual engine turbine intakes. Okay, so that's pretty nicely done, no problem. And funny enough, no ejector pins in the middle of the actual exhaust, which is a nice touch. Considering this type of kit, that's pretty good indeed. Okay, last up, all those tiny little aerials on the back, which again I'm amazed are all still in one bit. So that's pretty good, all of those, no problem with that at all. Okay, last up we've got the clear parts. Pretty good. Unfortunately, it is always going to be the downside. I'm just looking, this nose section is glass and moulding and stuff down in here, but you can see it's pretty thick, got quite a lot of wobble down on this, even on the flatter parts. This bowed stuff, you're always going to get that. Okay, I don't know if actually the windows open on this as well, because they do have sort of opening sliding windows. You know, generally it's all okay. All the rear windows are all teardropped, so they're all bulged out again, so you might want to use those instead of the PVA glue trick. If they're all bulging that far out, then you might have to do that. If you're using the flat windows, obviously you could just get ahead, but again we've got a mixture of bold, domed out sort of teardrop windows as well as normal, so obviously personal choice on which way you want to do that one. And there we go, that is it. So there we go, that is A Models 1/76 scale Mi-10. Something completely different. And again, you always think, or I do, because I have built a couple of A model stuff in the past, and it's actually quite a lot of work. I've built some of their bigger stuff, to be honest. Never built one of their helicopters, but the level of detail on that is very, very nice. Considering it is that sort of limited run, it's pretty much devoid of any sort of, you know, details on the inside of the mould. The external side of it, and this detail down that's all in here, and all these louvedours and that, is absolutely spot on. So I think by the time you've cleaned up the parts, got all the flashing off of this, a lot of test fitting, you're actually going to turn up with something very, very nice, and definitely something that most people wouldn't even know what it is, let alone see it at a show or anything else like that. So if you want something a little bit different, a little bit left wing out there, then this is definitely a helicopter for you. So there we go, that's the A Models 1/72 Mi-10.